Fate's stats are so good, then you really limit what the early game is going to look like for Liiv Sandbox, as T1 already did this week.
Yeah, they've been exposed a little bit so far in the LCK, but let's see whether they put a stop to it as we hop into the draft for game number 1. Kalista banned away from Ruler. I believe it's Deft and Ruler that get the majority of the Kalista bans so far. Henna also having a decent performance, but hasn't been banned against him just yet. Talia ban's actually coming through this time, Wolf, so that's definitely good news.
For sure. The Nara ban as well, coming in as well. And you do see the Renekton targeted ban against Rascal a lot. We've seen the Camille bans against him in the first phase, something that a lot of teams are focusing on, and that's what's going to come through here again. As Rascal has been such a terrifying top laner, if he gets control of the lane and is able to side lane, he's one of the best side laners in League of Legends, not just the LCK. And even his Quinn has gotten insane value when he's been placed on that into something like a Renekton. He wins that, then roams around the map super fast, gets solo kills, and just pushes to victory. So definitely something you want to try to lock down early, and that's exactly what Sandbox do.
I would be interested in the Quinn pick once again. We saw Khan picking up his POG with the Quinn at 1 and 6 or something like that, which that's definitely how you want to run the Quinn, you know? Just run it up a side lane and see how long you can last. Is the Samira going to be the first pickup here for Leo? Opens the tables for Effort to be on one of those engaged supports like you were talking about. Certainly pairs very well with Effort's Rel, Alistair, things like that that can get around and make things happen. It looks like Flawless. I mean, sometimes you can take him out of Solo 1 Prince, but it's not going to change what he's going to be doing here as we're looking to get onto that Olaf, get things happening.
See the Olaf locked in immediately, and sometimes we do see that Aphelios response to... Oh, wow. Did not expect the Xayah. That's usually a response to the Kai'Sa they banned away. I was going to say, sometimes you see the Aphelios follow up to the Samira first pick, but not in this case, as Udyr will come in. And I do feel like we have to start kind of talking about this as a standard pick and not like a, ooh, this is kind of weird, like, see how this works. It's kind of pushed into the position where Kindred is right now, where it's a niche pick, but still very strong and still very meta at this point in time across the world now.
Yeah, we're starting to see him pop up everywhere. Of course, it was, I don't know whether it originated with the ban against Kanavi. I think it might have been picked up by Pioshik, then banned against Kanavi, because, of course, Pioshik mentioning that it was Kanavi that sort of gave him the idea for the Udyr. But so far, Croco has had less than great success on the Udyr pick. Has played it once before, but didn't necessarily win. B2D back to an old favorite on the Azir. I know there's a lot of you at home that are probably getting a little bit tired of seeing these Azirs picked up. But B2D is one of our better ones, so let's see how he goes this time around.
Gives you a lot of engage around objective fights. It can be very, very helpful for teleport ganks into the top lane. You can use it defensively under turret to knock the offender, right? The one who's trying to gank your top lane into it. You can use it to push people away from the turret. There's so many ways you can use this ultimate to help control the map, and that's one of the main reasons why he is picked, not to mention his damage output ends up being pretty safe. See the Alistair ban here. So Effort's pool kind of shortened a little bit with the Alistair removal, the Rel removal here.
Yep, and the two champions that I mentioned that he should be playing with on this Samira pickup that Leo has for himself. So I'm going to be stretched a little bit, and maybe we'll see that Nautilus that we like to talk about.
I would love to see it, as we will see the Rakan targeted against the Ruler Xayah here. Not a big shocker because of the synergy that's built into those two champions in the bot lane. As we'll see a Leona come through, and the cool thing about this Leona is it seems to work really well with Xayah so far here in the LCK, but it also is another one of Effort's priority picks in the bot lane, so you get a twofold advantage from taking this one away right now. Love to see it. And then you get the top counter pick as well.
And that's what they want. Make sure Rascal has the best time possible. Galio being considered. A fair few circles there to be had on the bottom side of the map, as Effort can, of course, get those rotations pretty cleanly as well. Allows Croco to rocket forward, and then you can just drop a gargoyle down on top of him, and that allows him to keep up. Don't mind that one whatsoever. And in fact, the augmentation for the Udyr is very good with this composition, with Fate already there. We saw this used very, very well, where you just basically go up and boot people, and then there's a shockwave as you've been carrying an orb the whole way. Summit going to go back to an old favorite here in the Aatrox. Don't know whether I'm necessarily the hugest fan of it being picked up blind, but we'll see what Rascal actually has as an answer for this pick, because the Gragas is available and he could just go there, which could certainly be fine in the matchup.
Gragas is safe. I don't think the Jace or Quinn are out of the question. The Akali is definitely not something I expected to see. I think that's very greedy, and it certainly can
Rascal's
win.
Akali, man. He's allowed to be greedy. He's absolutely allowed to. He's so good at this champion. Has been ever since he was back on DRX. So very excited to see what they're going to be able to get done here, especially with such, a big pick for Rascal. Was nerfed a little bit on this patch, of course. Not able to get out quite as many of those Qs late game. But let's see whether that actually inhibits Rascal in any way.
I mean, he's going to be super bolstered by the fact that they have a really strong front line in the Olaf. With a lot of squishier supports, you're just not going to be able to make this happen as well. And the Akali AP damage is going to help diversify the damage output here. You're looking for really nice objective control in the late game. You're going to scale up with your Xayah. As long as you don't get run over by the very fast tempo composition with the Udyr, the Samira that's going to spike at 6, and then that Immortal Shield Bow, I really feel like Gen.G have a strong composition. A lot of it is going to depend on that execution in the top lane for Rascal. If he gets ahead, I feel like the game just ends at that point, because there's no coming back from that. But if he goes even, and a lot of the rest of the game is kind of split, the objective fights are good for Gen.G, then I feel like, they're still going to be in a good place. I feel like for, the opposite side of things for Liiv Sandbox, they really need to push an early lead and get a tempo advantage, or they're going to fall off super hard.
Yeah, and I also think that Rascal might need some help towards the top side as well, so it's not necessarily the greatest opportunity to pick up Akali. It is Rascal's Akali, right, which is why we're excited, but still can be a little bit dangerous in the matchup, especially with Croco if he's going to be focusing top side. But we'll just have to see how it goes. I think that as far as how everything works together, Sandbox have put themselves together a really nice composition, but there's certainly so much comfort coming out of Gen.G, and Gen.G do like to play around that and can be very scary when they're all just happy with the champions they have.
Whenever Rascal gets a champion that can be a big carry and can showcase his individual ability, it feels like that is when he shines the most.
Yeah.
And, in the isolated 1v1, it's going to be very difficult for him to do that. But if he gets enough help and starts to snowball that into his favor, Akali is a champion, as we've already seen Chovy prove, that can just run away with the game. And it's just so hard to catch up after that, especially because the rest of their comp actually has so many tools for good team fights around objectives. And it's terrifying. For Liiv Sandbox, there's a lot of pressure to make sure that this early game goes in your favor, or you could just literally see the game fading away the more minutes that go by.
Yeah. And also, I do like the Akali in against a composition that does want to run forward, right? And of course, you see Udyr and you know that he's just going to be booking it past the front line and trying to get boops into the back line. And with an Akali, you can still penetrate the back line quite comfortably. And with the fact that they are going to be largely alone, it'll be much easier for us just to get in there and go for those assassinations. So looking forward to seeing how this one's going to go, but we'll take some finesse to get through this early game unscathed. And let's see how he does as Gen.G take control of this wave early. Effort and Leo, of course, just helping out with a bit of a leash for Croco.
Yeah, let's see how this turns out, too, because, you mentioned the Gragas pick being an alternative to the Akali. It's not really Rascal's MO, right, to play a passive top lane where he plays weak side, but, as it goes later on, if this Akali pick does fall off, it doesn't actually get success, or he ends up losing out big time to some roams coming through from Croco, then we will definitely revisit that question later on as to whether a safer top lane pick might have been the better option.
Yeah. And Rascal was definitely on utility duty more often than not in previous iterations, right? And especially when he started on Gen.G. He's only recently sort of found himself. It was when he was allowed to just play Renekton every game. Yeah. And that's when he really started to pop off. Which is not necessarily, we were talking about Renekton and being quite upset about it last year quite a few times. But when Rascal played it, it was a very different story. So I think that definitely gave him a lot more grounds to sort of pick what he likes.
Yeah.
Because he's just good.
He played Sion in that previous series earlier this week, which did not work out for him. And I was casting that one with Valdez, and
yeah, I remember.
We were talking about how this is just not Rascal's style anymore, and it felt like when he was playing passively, the rest of the team just didn't operate as normal. And that could be something that could come back to bite you later on, because everyone is drafting against Rascal. I mean, you look at the bans we just saw in this first game and how many of those bans you see across all of Gen.G's recent games. If you're so reliant on that aggressive top lane being your strong side, then it can come back to bite you when you get out-drafted super hard. So something to keep in mind. It's double-edged sword in some regards.
Well, so far, BDD absolutely owning this lane against Fate. The Azir-Orianna matchup isn't one that's, you know, a new thing for many of us, of course. But certainly, BDD having the better of it this time around. See whether that continues as the game goes on, as we've got a bit of a back coming through from Fate. And BDD just going to shove this one out. Fate, of course, teleporting back very quickly. And now BDD, it's his turn to go restock on that mana. Currently about a wave in the lead. Which, you know, it equates to, you know, already Gen.G having this 300 gold lead or something like that as the dust is settling. So already laning very well on the side of Gen.G, which is what we expect, right? In this matchup against Liiv Sandbox. This is about Liiv Sandbox actually giving us something more than what they've showed so far in the LCK, because it's going to take that if they want to win this.
It really is. And unfortunately, the bot lane getting really hard controlled against Liiv Sandbox means that Effort is going to have to just kind of sit under turret here and help support Leo and not be able to roam and relieve some of that pressure in the mid lane. So both of these lanes having prio for Gen.G is just really unfortunate for Effort, who's, again, made Fate so good in the lane and made the stats look so good because of all those aggressive roams, but this particular case, not going to be able to make it happen, as he just has to play back defensively here once again. Galio pick as well, one of those things that's really hard to pull off pre-6.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Galio pick yet. I'm not really sure whether I like it. It has seen some success, but doesn't necessarily ever lend itself to like, oh, this was genius right here. Unless you see, you know, the Camille pickups and things like that. We've been seeing a fair bit of elsewhere, but she gets banned a lot here in Korea.
Yeah, something that we were seeing him pick support into was a lot of, I'll call that thought.
Yep, Croco coming on in here, looking for BDD. Flawless is going to turn up. Not sure whether he's too late or not, but it looks like he's on time. Croco just turns back, boops him. No Ragnarok available for Flawless. And BDD's going to make it out alive, but still going to be down a little bit as far as that health bar. Fate also not with very much mana, and BDD thinking about going for something here.
Yeah.
Ring Sands not going to find the damage.
Just got a lot of mana left over, so wanted to maybe take a chance there. But yeah, as we see this, it was zoomed back in on this Galio. It was used a lot against double tank compositions early on. We were seeing Sunfire Aegis be like the only item tanks we're building. And we were seeing Renekton actually make it through most drafts. We're seeing a lot of Renekton Alistar, and that's when it seemed really strong against this very tanky front lines that are hard engaged. You have the taunt as a kind of a response. But this draft, you know, there is no hard melee engage outside of the Olaf, who's just going to be able to ult his way through that anyways. So, yeah, the Galio pick here just, unfortunately, feels like a little bit of a black sheep, you know? It's just, it's not really perfectly connected with anything that's on Gen.G's side. And, I mean, you have the ability to roam mid, and his ultimate is going to be very nice. You're going to be able to control a lot of the map with that, but, yeah, it doesn't feel like a counter, you know? And a lot of his supports were removed.
Yeah, and there's a few things you can do with it in this composition as the game goes on, but it's just I just don't know whether I'm on board with Galio support being super strong at this point in time just yet. That's okay. See how it is actually going to eventuate here in this game as Life just going stealth mode. Got solid snake Life here in the brush, not wanting to perturb anyone as he is going to pick up this minion wave, hold on to it for Ruler. And Ruler's going to come back, things are going to be absolutely fine. Flawless also turns up, so no one's going to stop this one. Even though Crash is going to go down. Croco thinking about stopping Flawless from taking this Drake right now. I don't think there's too much vision, actually. And Croco and Effort, both of them looking for BDD. Still has Flash available, as there's the Emperor's Divide, and Croco can't get over it, of course. Effort comes on in with the Flash. But BDD has a Flash of his own, and he'll make it out. So, they do get BDD's Flash, but they do need one in order to trade for it. Yeah,
and they also give the Drake over, as well as a turret plate in the bottom lane. So, yeah, it's going to be really scary for BDD in these upcoming moments, but otherwise, Gen.G turning this rotation into their advantage. And something we haven't talked about too much, but is starting to, you know, show itself a little bit in this top side of the map is just how well Rascal is doing in this lane. He's not up a massive amount of CS. The lane is always pushed into Summit. He's very comfortable. He has no fear. There hasn't been any roaming up to the top side of the map to try to disrupt him. And it's a good start here as he's looking to build that Rift Maker. It's going to be his big power spike early on in this game.
Yeah, Leeching Leer already done. Some brown bags alongside it. As, yeah, Summit's just looking to try and hold on to waves as best he can. Not necessarily something you expect out of Aatrox, though. I'm glad you brought it up, because normally he does very, very well in the early stages.
Yeah.
And hasn't had too much attention from any of the junglers or anything like that. So this is just straight up laning, and things working out pretty well for Rascal. He gets knocked up by that Q. Shuriken backflip gets him to safety, though.
I don't think this is a game where Udyr has to, you know, zoom around the map and be involved every single time he finishes his jungle path. but you do wonder about where Liiv Sandbox's tempo is going to be as the game goes on, especially when this top lane matchup is going so safely for them. Some of these upcoming skirmishes before Akali has her power spike, like this next Drake fight, for example, is going to be a good fight for the Aatrox. You would think, you know, if he could teleport down there and make a big amount of CC come through. He's got a lot of disruption, right? He's really good at those early skirmishes. But if he doesn't, you know, you're going to have a big problem.
Croco has a big problem himself as heroic entrance is going to come through, but Effort maybe regrets that decision. BDD, Emperor's Divide onto 2. Croco going to be chased down by the Olaf. Rascal might be delivered the kill, and he is. Shockwave not going to find any joy at all as Fate comes on in, but now Rascal's here as well, gets the second of the perfect execution, and Effort gets taken down, conquered by the sands of BDD. Now Summit, yeah, it looks like his world is ending as he's just going to leave.
Really nice execution there from BDD, and Rascal gets delivered the first ball. Looked like he took it more than it was given to him, but he guaranteed it. He snagged it with those shurikens, and this is where things can start to fall out of control. You know, this lane is going to get a lot easier for Rascal now. Not that he was having trouble at all before, but he's going to be able to play a lot more aggressively as he does here.
That was really cute from Summit there, actually landing all of his Qs. So Rascal not winning the trade like he would have liked. Hasn't been back, of course, so hasn't been able to capitalize. No flash, remember, so that's the change here for this particular Akali. Just decided to go for the teleport ignite, relying on the shuriken backflip for the mobility as well as the ultimate. That was just real nice, getting that Zenith blade exactly when Croco is rounding the corner.
Yep, look at BDD just sweep his way in, sets up for the Emperor's Divide, and Effort goes back in here aggressively and does get pushed out. You can see the follow-up here from Rascal is actually insane damage output, and then that's a kill there. I mean, that's all it takes. Summit's like, oh, I really wanted to do something. I really wanted this Aatrox skirmish fight. I wanted this fight to be mine. I wanted to actually get that value, but he's just not able to make it happen as the fight was happening on the other side of the river. This is a fantastic start for Gen.G. I mean, this is exactly what you're hoping for, is like, you're looking for, okay, a pretty stable early game. Okay, they're up 2-0. They're up 1,500 gold. This is better than what your comp is supposed to be at right now.
Yeah, no, precisely. Especially when BDD is starting off at 1-0-1. I love that Flawless just decided to hand the kill over to Rascal as well, because that just straight up wins the top lane. At the same time, Rascal still hasn't gone back yet as he throws out the ultimate, looking for some extra damage onto Summit. The Ignite already down. We'll see whether the perfect execution is going to land. It doesn't, as the backflip also goes wide, and Summit is able to walk away with his life.
Nice play by Summit. Bit of a whiff there from Rascal, sadly.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, we're starting to see it happen, right? You said it right before the exchange happened. It's okay, well, he's just going to win lane now. And he didn't get the kill, which would have made things even worse. But you could see that he could just walk up and force a fight under his terms, forcing a flash out of Summit. By all intents and purposes, killing him. If he had hit that, then he would have actually gotten the kill. And now this lane is, like, even worse. The Rift Maker is completed. So Summit's time in this game is over, essentially. I mean, he can still put on a lot of CC and a lot of damage output in the next upcoming Drake fight if he does participate in that, but he's not going to be relevant in the side lane, and then he is going to have a really, really hard mid-game that he's going to have to try to survive through here, and I just don't know if he can do it.
Yeah, now Flawless is going to be able to transition this Rift Scuttler into a Drake. Could be able to take down this Control Ward at the same time. Ruler gets priority on the bottom lane, moves up to help with this dragon. The macro, once again, from Gen.G looking very, very good. And this is the Gen.G that we got used to in their first few games. They've since gotten worse, but now Undertow's flying on forward. Flawless, though, decides that he doesn't want to fight this. As teleports coming through from our top lane, as there's a shockwave onto 4 members, but Summit is just eviscerated. BDD off to the side, looks for the Emperor's Divide, but doesn't get it onto Croco, who flashes his way out. I think I rhymed by accident there, but that's okay, as there's the flash forward on the Justice Punch. BDD once again flashing away from the Gargoyle, and Liiv Sandbox will back away. Flawless looking for this Drake once again.
You look at this fight, you think, why is Summit so late to the fight? There's no way to lock him down to prevent him from teleporting. Why doesn't he come down first? He wants to get there and get that advantage early, wants to be able to hit a lot of Qs and have that skirmishing power before Rascal gets down there. The reason why, as he watches replay, is the only ward is nearby, besides the one that's in the pit, is just in the middle of Gen.G. So when you see the teleport come through, they're like, okay, this is what we wanted. I know he's going to teleport in. We just instantly lock him down and kill him. It doesn't matter about the rest of the engage, because one of your strongest frontliners, your Aatrox, is dead immediately. And even though BDD's Emperor's Divide goes wide, at that moment the fight is over. There's just no coming back from that. He teleported in, he made the commitment because he had to, but unfortunately there was 2 bad wards to teleport to. Otherwise he wasn't going to be teleporting into the fight, he was going to be teleporting into lane. So actually having that control over that ward was massive for Gen.G.
Yeah, backing away onto it as well. I mean, when you see a 4-man shockwave like that, it's just so sad, right? Because Fate just didn't do any damage with it. There was no follow-up. I don't know how, you know, Leo was in that particular fight, but wasn't able to get any sort of anything done to follow up on what was a fantastic ultimate out of the Orianna. So just a bit disappointing from Liiv Sandbox, but we live and learn. 3,000 gold, approximately the lead, as Rascal breaks the chains. Looking to backflip his way back in, but Croco's just clearing out vision here, and we've got a little bit of time where things have been a little bit quieter.
Sure. Very much you know, a fight that goes the favor of Gen.G, and if you're Liiv Sandbox now, you're kind of on the back foot. You're trying to find anything you can on the map. They're even going to force a rotation over here from Fate to try to get this Rift Herald. Rascal has a wave against him, so can't actually check that. It's going to be Flawless who heads over, and they are going to rush over to contest this. This could be a disaster for Liiv Sandbox. The collapse comes through.
Yep, we got the Zenith Blade to come down here as well. Solar Flare is flashed out of there by Fate. Shockwave picks up one of them. BDD makes his way back. Definitely a high-value target as Emperor's Divide doesn't do too much. Now Rascal finds himself between a rock and a hard place, but Croco is going to bite the dust first. Taken down by Flawless, is now Shirley continuing to get frustrated within this one. Rascal quite low. Summit deciding he wants to take matters into his own hands. Not sure whether it's the greatest move as life comes on over, and Summit's just going to be smited. And Shirley will join the Gen.G fold.
Yeah, life comes over and closes the door to the exit of the team fight. Very, very well played by Rascal as well. He's down at something like just over a third health as he tries to rotate into the fight. And like you said, it looks like he's between a rock and a hard place, but he's able to just dash into the other side of the fight and get value done. There's so much peel on the side of Gen.G that once he goes in, there's nowhere for Summit to follow. Like, watch where Rascal is at the top of this fight when he comes down. So we're going to watch the beginning of this as well, which is beautifully executed from Life. Forcing Fate to flash away. Look at Rascal. He's just at like a third health, just over it. Croco's coming over to try to set up the mini stun, and he dodges the Q, dashes through Croco, and then everyone else on the team is able to follow up. Croco gets taken out. And this is the power of Akali. It's not like she carried the fight, but she's just so mobile that part of the fight is the attention is to try to cut Rascal off, but he just zips through, and then Life closes the door here on the Summit. Well played, Gen.G.
And the aggro range on the Akali as well is just so fantastic in a backline like that. You have to just really watch out for your spacing. And now that she's this fed, it just gets even worse, right? As Rascal now has his Sorcerer's Shoes, got a cheeky little book there with his Riftmaker. And Gen.G, they got another minute and a half on Soul Point here. It is, of course, going to be a Cloud Soul because Atlas is here. I apologize once again for that one, but that's going to be okay. Gen.G still on track for a perfect game. Right now is BDD looking for effort, but he's got a shield. He'll be okay for the moment, but how okay are Liiv Sandbox really as we move closer and closer to 20 minutes? It's looking real dicey.
Well, this is what we were saying earlier. It's like, okay, if Rascal goes even in the top lane, but you get other objectives on the map and you're starting to get a tempo advantage as Liiv Sandbox, you're going to feel okay with this draft. But if Rascal gets ahead, if the game falls apart early, then there is no clawing out of this one, very likely. It's going to be so difficult because how does Leo really get value in these upcoming team fights when he is also so behind? He's down a level, down 20 CS, has no involvement in any kills. All he has is Immortal Shield Bow, but everyone else is so fed on Gen.G that they're not going to get much out of it.
Ooh, a lot of burst damage here as Rascal puts down his Shroud. Summit trying to land these Qs, but not going to find any of them. Just looks for the minion wave in the end as now. Actually going to use that one backwards. Or maybe he'd go the other way, but decides not to as Summit. Just going to walk away. Perfect execution. Not exactly the most perfect, but Rascal putting on as much pressure as possible.
Yeah. It's just making sure that this is a really, really unfun game for Summit. He's just trying to play League of Legends at the highest level. He's trying to play against a team that just went to Worlds, you know? He's trying his best. He came from humble beginnings, you know? This is as deep as it's going to get maybe for him in this top lane, and it is just a really hard time. Gen.G going to get their third Drake before 20 minutes with no contest. And where else are you on the map if you're Liiv Sandbox? Even Leo's not safe to farm. He lost his turret long ago. And look at this gold difference.
Yeah, already 4,000 at 19 minutes into the game. You mentioned all of these objectives. I think absolutely every neutral has gone over to Gen.G, so this is certainly perfect game pace right now.
It is, yeah. They got the Rift Herald as well. I mean,
yeah, both of them, I believe.
Yeah, we might actually have the first perfect game of the season.
Yeah.
I probably just jinxed it, but you know.
I don't know whether we got the turret plate count. I think there was one game I remember, Kesper Cup 2019 T1, when it was the debut of you know, Teddy and Marta, and when everyone sort of joined T1 after what was a bit of a horror 2018. They went into Kesper Cup and got the perfectest game, where you get every turret plate as well as everything, and you don't lose any turret plates yourself. It's like actually just getting the most possible objectives and extra things on the map as possible and denying your opponent anything. So we're not going to get the perfectest game, but we will likely, or potentially, get a perfect game here out of Gen.G. Let's see how they go.
If it continues, I mean, right now, it certainly feels like it. So we're going to see the second Herald charge through. And, I mean, BDD is grabbing top turret. Rascal's in the bot lane, uncontested. Actually, you see a rotation up from Fate, but what can they really capitalize on here? They're actually in a really risky spot.
Flawless, remember, there's a perfect game on your hands. He's just going to turn this one around. Okay, Ragnarok giving him a bit of extra damage there, and 3 members of Liiv Sandbox get the heck out of Dodge. They don't want this at all, as the Rift Scuttler goes down. Not going to change the perfect game situation. You don't need to get every scuttle.
Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, that's like Score's perfect game, if you remember back a little while ago. He loved getting all of those.
Well,
sorry to remind everyone of Score, by the way.
Yeah.
I made myself re-sad again.
Just wait until Score becomes like the best coach in League of Legends ever.
Hey, yeah, that's dream.
My fantasy, anyways. Well, look, I mean, that was Flawless ever in any real danger there? He had to use his Ragnarok, but like he just walked away. BD had top pushing, so he actually was ready to come down on Emperor's Divide. He was like, yeah, please continue. Please, Liiv Sandbox. Right, I beseech you to continue this fight. As the whole map just belongs to Gen.G. It's like they have Baron buff with all the push that we're seeing and all the control over the map, but they don't. They probably will soon. As Rascal is just like, yeah, I'm going to take minions on the side because you guys are going to play passive, so I can't kill anyone, so I'll just kill minions, and you can't stop me, and if you try to, then I will kill you.
And he's got the Oblivion Orb now as well, so not only does he have Ignite to stop the healing from the Aatrox, but now also has the Oblivion Orb to deny it. We'll see whether he gets the extra grievous wounds from the Morellonomicon or whether he sits on it. And there it is. Okay.
Yeah, as
you
said
completes it.
Literally as the words are coming out of your mouth, he was like, yeah, I think I'll do that. Seems pretty good against Score Drinker, Aatrox. And
yeah.
I mean, I do like the adaptation that we're seeing with a lot more teams, you know, running 2 Ignites because of all the heal that's in the game right now. Do appreciate it. It's going to make it very difficult for Liiv Sandbox to live through these.
I see what you did there.
I didn't mean to, but I guess I did. I always do this when they're playing. If Root is playing, you're going to see all the Roots.
I know, yeah. Well, Rullet loses half of his health bar. Okay. Fate showing that he can land another Shockwave. He's had some pretty good ones so far, apart from that one that was a bit awful at the very beginning, but had to get his eye in, and then he got that 4-man. That was pretty cool.
He's also
but Rullet's going to be okay now.
Yeah, he's also built Executioner's Culling, so more heal deny.
Oh god, yeah, everyone's denying the heals on Gen.G.
Summit is like, again, like I told you guys, I just want to play a game of League of Legends.
At least Gen.G know who their target is, right? Like, we're just going to stop Summit from playing the game. And look, it seems to be working right now. Effort over, looking to try and clear out some vision, but there's too many wards here in these brushes. Another back from Rascal. He's got the teleport available. 40 seconds on the Cloud Soul. And when you're snowballing a game this hard, I actually really like Cloud Soul because you can get that extra movement speed. You can ult as often as you like. And when you've got champions like Leona that just want to try and ult whenever they can, as, oh god, this poke damage is just ludicrous out of Gen.G.
Yeah.
Stealing away that outer turret so easily. B2D continuing there with the Sand Soldiers.
The Emperor's Divide, too, is going to get so much value out of this Drake. I mean, they have 2 amazing ults for engage. As Rascal just has no fear here. He probably should.
Yeah, might have wanted a bit more fear than that. Does, of course, have the ultimate available as Justice Punch doesn't connect. Summit looking to get over the wall. Remember, this is the perfect game, Rascal. Don't play with our hearts like this. As he's going to make it out. Teleport available, and the Drake has been started. They can't lose this either. If you make this a 50-50 and lose the Drake, I'm going to be very upset, Gen.G.
So anti-hype.
They are looking to fight it. Yep, teleport coming through from Rascal. He's seeing whether he can do it, seeing whether they can get this fight as life. Flashes on board, Shuriken backflip doesn't connect. The Drake is taken by Gen.G, and B2D locks down the Gargoyle. And look at Flawless just obliterating the backline. Shockwave does absolutely nothing. Summit trying to be a hero. Life goes down. No! The perfect game is over as Croco is now going to be the next target. Gen.G still going to win this game. You got to take what you can get, right, guys? As Flawless should be able to find an undertone. No, it's an Udyr, remember? So maybe you'll just... No, Reckless Swing, never mind. Way too far ahead is Flawless.
Way too far ahead. 3,000 damage nearly in that last team fight. As we lost the perfect game, but Gen.G gained something, you know, much more real, something much more tangible.
Like an actual victory. Yeah, that's probably more important. You're not judged on how many perfect games.
You see the double teleport here because they think that Gen.G are starting Baron. They're not, actually, in fact. So Liiv Sandbox is kind of doing a little ring around the rosy.
Oh, no.
He's got his Banshee Veil. But no.
But he's still mega dead. It's like...
this game is getting...
toggles the vision off as well so that we all get terrified.
This game is getting... exponentially less perfect as time goes on.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if this was like Monty Python's and now for something completely different, we'd have one of those scenes with it's getting a little bit too silly. You know,
yes.
we'd be having one of them right now. I think that's what they need, as we've got Liiv Sandbox starting off the Baron. B2D's dead for another 17 seconds, but Flawless is still alive. Close to 3,000 health as well. He is very scary. Summit over the wall looking for the flank. Worldender has been popped, looking for Flawless now, who Ragnaroks to get himself out of the way. Rascal still biding his time. And Liiv Sandbox still grouped as 5, but they need to make a move now. This is when they have the advantage.
BDD, no teleport.
A bit of an advantage.
Yeah, BDD is going to take him forever to get here, so I feel like they should have tried to capitalize on something, but they're just too scared. They're so far behind that even 5v4, they just cannot muster a fight. And it ends up being that this pick amounts to no objectives. In fact, gives a turret to Gen.G.
It might even get Baron over to them as well.
Yeah. This game is
real
sad, Atlas. We didn't even get the perfect game.
That's what I'm sad about. As the 6,000.6k gold leaders, B2D puts up the wall. I think that was intentional, actually, just to make sure that it works like a Weaver's Wall, and that guarantees the Baron. So for any of you throwing Keck W's in the chat, I would stop as in goes Effort, looks for the taunt, but only finds it onto Flawless, who doesn't get taunted. He's going to grab the kill onto the Gargoyle first up. That's a one-man Shockwave, but immediately Rascal gets back in. Perfect execution, gets an afterthought Samira kill, and Croco's now trying to run away. Live, can he actually get the stun onto the Udyr? That's the question, as there's a Shuriken backflip, and Summit will be the next in line. Life goes golden just to taunt the man in the Liiv Sandbox top lane. That's your Omen ace, and that should be the game.
Summit's just trying to play a game of League of Legends.
Oh no!
Well, he almost got to have some fun there, but it didn't happen. This is going to be nearly a perfect game from Gen.G. The Akali pick works a treat. Rascal goes 3-0-6, a flawless game for he and Flawless. This sits at 6-0 and 5, and
another pun from Wolf as well. We're getting all of them today.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
To watch this Emperor's Divide zone out again here. We're going a little bit further forward than this one. Akali ends up being extremely mobile, very good at chasing kills, very good at securing a lot. Life makes sure that Summit can't leave here. And he knew BDD was coming around, so it was not like there's no chance he was going to walk out of this one alive and just trying to play the game. Doesn't happen. But the Akali pick, we were talking about how it could be risky. You know, it could be one of those things where you fall behind, it doesn't work out, or, you know, you don't get enough of an advantage with it. Then at least the Aatrox can control some of those objectives before we go to the late game where Gen.G is going to be stronger. Gen.G won the beginning, the middle, and the end of this game, so...
Yeah. And every lane, and the jungle, and everything. As now Live going in once again. Croco just going to wander his way out. Infernal Chains mean absolutely nothing. That's a dead Summit. I would be more excited about it, but it feels like there's an air of inevitability right now for Gen.G as Effort tries to run away. Rascal underneath this inner turret. You've got Udyr still running, giving some thumbs up, but it's not a thumbs up towards a victory. It's a thumbs up to get me into game number 2. I'm done with this one.
BDD going deep.
Yeah, there's the Empress Divide. Special delivery on the Orianna. She gets a shockwave, but it's not going to really do too much as Leo. Oh, the last couple of feathers from Ruler. Cool guys don't look at explosions either now as Croco looking for the Xayah, but I don't think he really wants to find it. Maybe settle on the fountain at this point in time and just wait before that game number 2 rolls around as perfect execution out from Rascal. Wants to be able to take down Croco here. Gets onto the fountain, grabs the kill, goes golden, and that will be the ace for Gen.G. Heroic effort. The only death for Rascal was on his terms. This game, flawless as well. Phenomenal performance, and this is the Gen.G reinvigorated that we wanted to see.
Reinvigorated. It's against a weaker opponent in Liiv Sandbox, but they look fantastic. This was an absolute dominant game from Gen.G from start to finish, as I mentioned. And the win conditions for Liiv Sandbox were in the early to mid game with the Aatrox pick. They chose the Orianna they were trying to rely on in some of those skirmishes, but they lost control of the mid lane